Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wrasslin' and Chill, second episode. We are still doing this. We just happened to
Yeah.
start right when vacations and stuff were happening. Um,
No one has better timing than us when it comes to planning.
it's so true, so true.
hmm
But the good news is now we can talk about SummerSlam because we were building up to that, so we can finally talk about that, and then we can talk about a little bit of the post SummerSlam fallout, as it were, because SummerSlam was pretty big. A lot of big stuff went down.
Yeah, it
Uh,
ended up being almost like a new season change,
Pretty
basically.
much, yeah. It's like the new season. A lot of title changes, only like one or two I think that stay the same. Um,
As
is
long
it
as
is
you
it was it
don't.
only Cody? Was Cody the? Oh no, and Liv and Liv.
No, the tag team champions, and I guess also Liv,
Did the tag?
but
They didn't have a tag match at SummerSlam, did they?
they sure didn't.
Well,
That's
okay.
why they weren't changed.
Of the belts that were up for switching, I think was just Cody and Liv were the only ones that
That is
retained.
correct. That they
Yeah.
retained the belts that mattered that were up, the ones that they cared about. Only Cody and Liv got to keep theirs for the time being.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll just start at the top because every match at SummerSlam was good. Um,
Mhm.
so it opened up with Rhea versus Liv with the big Dominic betrayal. Everyone was calling it, so it still hit when it happened though. It was still good when it happened.
Yeah, it was definitely. I feel like maybe this was a little bit of SummerSlam going into it. Of basically everything that happened, I basically expected. The only thing that actually was up in the air for a bit, for me at least, was Gunther and Damian, and then that changed immediately after this match. I said, no, he's losing.
Yeah.
There's
As
no
soon
doubt.
as the Judgment Day betrayal started, I was like, yeah, he's done.
It's
Um,
over. What
I,
up?
I
It's
I
over.
also was not sure if they would let LA Knight beat Logan Paul. I thought there was a decent chance that they would force the title to stay on Logan Paul longer.
That's fair. That's fair. But for this one, I think it's an interesting match. I think they have an interesting dynamic going on. There's current in terms of what this storyline and what it means for what's going forward with Liv and Rhea, it works great. I'm still not 100% sure how much they need to establish that Liv Morgan is any form of a threat to Rhea, because currently the problem is
Yeah,
that they go for a match and the entire match is like woo woo woo, and then Liv wins because she
yeah.
cheats.
Well, because they even started this off with like Liv is running from Rhea, and as soon as Rhea gets her, she just starts beating the hell out of her.
Yeah, and
Um,
only after she got injured, and then you'd think, okay, well now she has a chance. She's injured, and then she pops her arm back in, and you're like, how does this woman ever like lose
yeah.
to Liv? Liv is just such a non-threat. It's actually hilarious
Well,
how much
you
it's
say
like,
that, but then in Bash at Berlin, it's gonna be Rhea and Damien versus Liv and Dom. And if you want to talk about a non-threat, you're telling me Dominic Mysterio is supposed to be equivalent to Damian Priest in that match?
they couldn't even beat the team. I think it's actually very funny what they're doing here. Dom and Liv might actually be the worst pair of wrestlers of in terms of not in terms of ability, in terms of threat assessment, because there's no team that does not beat them. They could not win a dark match against two other wrestlers. They couldn't even give them that. They gave them nothing.
To be fair, they did beat Ray and Zelina Vega that one
All right,
time.
I'll give them that much at least. But for the most part, not very like threatening in terms of in ring ability, but outside of it, when they're actually when it's time to like talk shit or see them get like their comeuppance, great at that. The problem is when they get in the ring, the story that they tell is one of, okay, so Rhea Ripley is like Goku currently. How do we power down Goku as much as we can to make it conceivable? Like it's basically Goku versus Android 19.
Yeah, it is strange because like Liv is good in the ring too. Like she's
She
good.
is.
So it does seem strange to me that they're booking it where it's just like just run the fuck away from Rhea constantly.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is the
Rhea's
problem. They
also
run.
way bigger than her, so I guess they have to make it
Yeah.
like believable. I don't know, but
Yeah, this is a problem they run into every couple years whenever they get like an Amazonian type of woman. It happened with China where the only way that they would have allowed China to fight other women is that they had to nerf her to the point of like she had like a concussed head and neck injury and she still beat the person she was supposed to fight in like 5 seconds. The Glamazonian, when she was up and running, almost no one was a threat to her. Every single time I watched, I said, "Why am I watching this match? She's just going to win." She outpowers every single one of these women so easily that there's literally no threat to her in the ring. And that's what that was a lot of her matches back in the day. And now it's up to Rhea, and it seems pretty similar. The only one that seems that I've ever seen her be like a threat to in the ring was Charlotte, and that's because Charlotte has so much championship that she has like OP John Cena powers, so it like evens out a little bit to where
that's
they can
fair.
say like, well, obviously she would be on par with her, stuff like that in terms of
Yeah,
in-ring
Rhea
ability and
definitely
stuff like that.
seems pretty unstoppable right now. It's weird in general because they did this whole thing, the both the I guess spoilers for the Gunther and Damian match, but they did the
Mm-hmm.
whole Judgment Day betrayals and whatever. And then ever since then, they've just had the new Judgment Day get their shit rocked by Damian and Rhea like every opportunity they have. Uh, it's
Yeah,
like two
I don't
Raws
know.
in a row now where they're just getting their asses handed to them by Damian and Rhea.
I was thinking about it today because I was like, we're gonna talk about this, and I need to say this because I realize now the problem with Judgment Day is that when a group splits up, the one who does the splitting is typically the Shawn Michaels type. It's the one that's is the one that they're gonna catapult forwards. This is the one they want to go. This is the one they plan to like have solo championships and stuff. The problem is that the people who broke them out of the Judgment Day are the Marty Jannettis, and the
Yeah,
Judgment Day is a team of 5 Marty Jannettis fighting 2 Shawn
Finn
Michaels.
could go back to being something because he was something for a while.
Old Finn could have, yes,
Old
all that stuff Gunther said
current Finn
about
is
Randy.
no, is not there,
No,
but
Corentin couldn't even say that he was the tag team champion and had to just say I'm a champion because the only championship belt that he has matters so little. He didn't even put up didn't even do anything with it on SummerSlam. That's how little it matters that he's the tag team champion.
yeah, the tag
People care
belts are in
more to
hell. The
he
tag
needed
belts are
help.
suffering.
He needed Liv Morgan's help to beat R-Truth in the Miz. So current Finn sucks. It's
Yeah.
everything the Gunther promo that he did on Randy Orton. He should have done it to Finn Balor because Finn Balor is the poster child for unrealized potential, and it's partly because of how much he got injured, and then a lot of that you can't fight with it, and it's very sad. I think it's like actually no, that's not true. The poster child for unrealized potential is Shinsuke Nakamura, but if there was a second one,
Yeah,
there would
probably.
be it would be Finn.
Yeah, Finn, and then of
Um,
course, you have JD McDonough, who is like the worst.
Actually,
Uh,
actively terrible.
yeah.
Carlito, who
Why
I
is
need to find
Carlito
out.
there? What is he there for?
He cares, man. He cares about the. He broke that PS5 himself.
He just shows up and like gets his shit rocked, and then he looks at Dom and he's like, "Whoa." That's like all Carlito does.
My favorite part is when I forget who it might have been Dom or it was JD McDonough, but they were going for I want to say it was like the week after it was the Raw after SummerSlam. Not yeah, Raw after SummerSlam. Damian set him up for a choke slam, gave him a terrible choke slam. Carlito, who was up, saw it happen and did not bother to help him. He just stood there and watched, and then picked up the body after it got choke slammed. I don't know why Carlito's in Judgment Day,
Yeah,
other
I,
than to
I
kind of
guess they
vibe.
wanted to do that angle with the LWO where he like betrays them, and then they have no idea what to do with him afterward.
No, and to
So
be
now
fair,
he just
he's
hangs
maybe
out with
my.
the Judgment Day.
I think he might actually be my favorite member of Judgment Day now that they kicked out Rhea and Damien. He might
He
actually
might
just be
actually be,
because
yeah, because the other ones are awful, but they don't have any funny redeeming quality. Actually, I like Liv. I like Liv a lot.
I like Liv and Dom, but I also hate them.
I
So I feel
I
like in
like
terms
I
of
unironically like Liv. I like ironically like Dom, where I'm like, you're fucking, I hate you, but I like you for that.
after the most recent Logan Paul stuff, I'm putting Dom up to second best member of the
Oh,
Judgment
where he
Day.
said, "Aren't you banned from Japan?"
No, aren't you shadow banned? He's what he said. And then he said, "You would be the ultimate heel in Japan, especially when you break out the hat." And I was like, "Oh my fucking god, so
Dude,
good!"
Logan's face during that, he's so pissed off.
Oh my god, when he was like, "No, no, man, you went too far. You went too far. You went too far." That's the thing. He's like, "Really? I really think the hat would really sell it." I was like, "Oh, so good." But yes, I think there are good members of the Judgment Day. It's just like currently they're just not a non-threat, and maybe they'll start working towards it. But they're gonna need to do like a lot of work here.
Well,
Especially, we'll get maybe
they haven't
more.
gotten a single W. I mean, SummerSlam they got the wins, but ever since then they've been getting just trashed. So I don't know what you do. And again,
Yeah,
putting Dominic Mysterio on equal footing with Damian Priest feels crazy.
no, yeah,
He was about to
it
get
ain't happening.
riptided by Rhea last week, and they're trying to
For
tell me
real.
he's gonna go one on one with Damian while Liv fights Rhea. I don't think so,
Uh,
man.
yeah, I don't see it as anything other than yeah, just a feel good, let's destroy them kind of match. I don't see them losing. It wouldn't need to be like a literal 5-on-2 match for I think the Judgment Day to stand a while, but I think they're gonna honestly the pay-per-view should be Rhea and Damian versus Finn and JD McDonough for the tag team championship. I feel like that would be a slightly more of a threat to them than Dom and Liv, but they need to do
Oh
this
yeah,
one just to get.
I guess they don't let Rhea wrestle even the little guys. Didn't China wrestle a couple dudes back in the day?
She did. That's why they had to nerf her. She was Intercontinental Champion. She beat Jeff Jarrett. I mean, it
Yeah,
took
because
them
I
Jeff
remember
Jarrett's.
her saying that she owed Stone Cold for getting to do that because he hit her in the ring and everyone was okay with it. And she
Yes.
was like, if he didn't do that and people didn't react positively, I would have never gotten the chance to do that.
I could see that. It was definitely a big thing, especially with all the egos in the '90s dudes, where they were like Jeff Jarrett had to say like, not only did he had to say you have to give me so much unbelievable amounts of money, and then they gave it to him, and then he said cool, and then he left the company. Like it was a literal like he was like I can't do anything anymore. I lost to China. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair.
I'm done here. There's nothing else. I'm basically a joke in this company. No one will ever take me seriously again. So I think we have maybe gone past that a little bit now. I would hope that it's understandable that someone like Dom would get the shit beat out of him by Rhea, but
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
Rhea's bigger than JD McDonough. So, at
she
some
is.
point.
Yeah, but people are weird when it comes to it. But yeah, the match itself is good, and what they're building towards is interesting. I just want to see where it goes from here, and whether or not they are actually building towards Judgment Day getting bigger. But I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to Damien and
Yeah,
Gunther. There's a lot of Judgment Day talk.
there is.
Funny
There
enough.
is. The next one we barely even really need to mention because it was so for every match on this card, the second shortest one was 12 minutes long, and that was
Mhm.
LA Knight versus Logan Paul. The one we're about to talk about right now is the shortest one at less than 6 minutes, which was Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
Did they really only go 6 minutes? It's so
5 minutes and
sad.
40 seconds was the match duration for Braun versus Sami. Um,
Bro, they really didn't give him they could not find more time
no,
at all in the
no,
fucking
apparently
long
not.
ass.
Well, because I feel like part of it had to have been because Roman was coming back, right? Because Cody solo was half an hour straight.
Oh my god, they should they could have taken 10 minutes off of Cody versus Solo
Yeah,
and
well, we'll
given
we'll
it
talk
to
about it when we get there. But solo was anyway.
anyway, we'll go
This match was
here.
agonizingly short. I really like Braun and Sammy, so I was kind of
I
pissed that it was
do.
like over immediately. Um,
Yeah.
they
I
do
remember
get a
being
little time on
actively.
Raw, but even that felt really fast.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I think I've made my peace with the idea of like, okay, they're gonna try with Braun. They want to say that this is the new era, but this really sucks for Sammy. This is
Yeah, well, they're trying really hard to push Sammy and Jay are gonna become a tag team.
this is gonna be another thing, but based off of the way that they currently book the tag team, Sami Zayn does not. That is a beneath point for Sammy
Oh, it
to
is.
be put
It
into
totally is.
to the tag team. It 100% is the way that they
Honestly, I feel
treat
like
it.
it is for Jay too at this point, even though he's way better in a tag team. Like he's so popular right now. Um,
Rikishi's right. They don't know what they're doing with his
they don't.
son,
They don't.
the Yeet Man.
And in their defense, the Yeet Man feels very limited in singles matches. He
He
doesn't really
does.
do anything.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
the tag titles or going for the tag titles still feels. Then again, they put the tag belts on Jay and Cody for a while, so I don't know.
Yeah, but again, they needed to. They couldn't. The tag teams matter so little. They didn't even bother to put them on SummerSlam. And then again, when you remember that JD McDonough and Finn Balor, a former world champion, needed help from Liv to secure a win against R-Truth and The
Yeah,
Miz. R-Truth, a man who is unaware of what the current location he is at is, and sometimes also just is like, I'm also in the Judgment Day, y'all. I cannot believe that they needed help at all to beat him.
yeah. And then after the other titles are one of them's on Tama Tonga.
Oh,
So
okay. We have to save it for them because I'm about to get super angry with what they did for that one.
okay, we'll hold on to the Bloodline stuff until we get to the last match.
Yeah,
But
there's a
yeah,
lot to discuss here, but this
Braun
match was
Sammy sucked.
yeah, they deserve more time. Even on that Raw match, I thought was a little bit better, especially with it just shows how much it's so insane that so many people were like saying like Hogan Sammy when you saw Sammy take that move he did on Raw for to the fucking crazy ass spot he took where it looked like he would have fucking died. Just to show how big of a badass that Braun was, it's insane. The only reason I would want this match to go longer is because I bet they would have it would have been amazing, but it's just not enough time. Five
Yeah,
minutes is just not enough time. That's like their fucking quick minute long championship shit. Like they need so much more time to establish all this good stuff. I remember because when it ended, I was like, man, what a sad way to end. This is the guy who beat Gunther, and you couldn't
yeah.
give him even a solid 10 minutes. You gave him
And it's weird
five.
because I feel like the Intercontinental Championship matches have been really good. Like
They have been.
from Sammy Gunther and onward, like I think all of Sammy's matches have been good. I like that, they had the Chad Gable stuff, which was really good.
Yeah.
The first Braun match was good. They were working Ilya in there as well. I thought it was all pretty good, but yeah, they got shafted on time. They got like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I
Yeah,
mean, um,
5 minutes. Yeah,
unfortunate to see.
that is very
Yeah,
unfortunate. Again, I think going with Braun, I think is a good way forward if they
yeah,
want
I
to.
think Braun totally deserves it. Like I'm fine with Braun winning. I just wish they would have given them some time to actually wrestle.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's where you can go. And in terms of where does the Intercontinental go from here, we'll see.
I think Braun is gonna have it for a while.
Yes, which is going to make it very hard to make Finn seem established when there's no chance of him winning the Intercontinental and there's no chance of him beating Gunther. So there's
Oh,
literally
zero.
nothing.
He's gonna beat Gunther. Like I don't
Zero
even.
chance. If you look at every single champion currently, there is zero people he could go over to make him look better, unless he just went on the world's craziest match possible. That
Well,
by the end of it,
he
people
went
were
up
like,
against
"Damn."
Gunther not that long ago, and he lost already.
I remember because people were like, "This is insane. This was supposed to be like a dream match, and it's just not where I want it to be." So
Yeah, back when
yeah,
Finn was, good.
yeah. Back when Finn was doing the demon stuff, and he was basically ever since he lost the demon, I feel like it's been a downward
Well,
spiral. Ever
I
since
remember
they
he did an interview where he was like, I don't want to bring the demon back because I want the demon to always be a face.
that makes sense.
I don't want the demon to be a heel. So while I'm a heel, I'm gonna just be Finn. And then if I'm a face again, I'll be the demon. And it's like, man, you gotta figure something out.
You gotta figure something out because unfortunately the demon was like Finn at peak power, and currently you're telling me that heel Finn will always suck more than the demon.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Um, I mean, isn't
Yes,
Finn on the
but
older side too?
he is, but not any older than like Randy Orton, and he's currently got a championship against Gunther, and he is
Randy Orton
established
is
as like
like
a
a
threat.
believable, like Randy Orton has not been running around subservient to Damian Priest for months. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I guess, but at the same time, he had his time of doing the Finn stuff of being subservient to someone. It's just that it's a weird case of he went from being a solo talent and then going into this stuff where Randy had the opposite journey of he started as subservient to Triple H and then he eventually broke off on his own and felt like it was something different. But yeah, more about Finn later. But yeah, Intercontinental, I'll be interested to see where it goes. I assume Braun is going to put on some real good matches and they're going to start establishing dudes that will at least seem threatening to him in some kind of capacity
Oh, they gotta.
somewhere along
Yeah.
the way.
I mean,
Yeah, they have to, or they're gonna run into some issues, or at least dudes that can put on a convincing match with them. Not that I need to believe that they can, not that I believe that they win, but I need to be believe that they think that they could win, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, all
yeah.
right. We'll hop into the next one here. Let's talk about LA Knight versus Logan Paul. Thank God LA Knight won.
Thank God, and the right person won, and there finally is a United States
There's finally
champion.
a real champion. He immediately was on SmackDown right after, ready to do stuff. Oh my God, I'm so happy to see that. And the thing is, and it pisses me off because Logan Paul's really good in the ring.
He is.
He's honestly pretty good on the mic too. He's a pretty believable heel that is good to hate.
he
Um,
he can lean into the parts that everyone hates about him, and then he can just do it, and people will be like, "Man, that's really good heel work," not knowing that he's actually a
that he's
piece of
just
shit.
actually the worst. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but he had like a 300-day reign almost, and he defended the title like 3 times. It's
yeah,
crazy. And he lost it
crazy.
on his third defense, I think.
Yeah, one of the worst champions in the history of the books, I
Unbelievably
think.
bad.
Terrible. It was a terrible,
And it's
terrible reign. I
because when he
think.
wrestles, it's a good match. This was a good match, but he
Yeah.
never wrestles. So what's the point?
No, I think also most recently when he was, I think it was during he did like an interview with Undertaker, which also was a crazy interview in itself. It's not as good as the Dom one, but Undertaker saying, "You really brought prestige to the United States." Fuck off, old man. You don't know what you're talking about. But the part that was interesting to me was the part where Logan said, like, "Yo, this shit hurts." And the answer is like he's finally realizing the part of all the good moves that he does, they hurt him. And then he's realizing that there's other wrestlers who are being into heavy storylines that aren't doing the crazy moves that he's doing, but they're getting a bigger reaction than him. So I think he's starting to realize, wait a minute, shouldn't I be doing that instead of all these crazy fucking stunts that
Yeah,
are getting
super
me injured?
flips that are fucking my body up.
Yeah, where
Well,
he's
I
like
think
that. This
they
move.
who was it that talked? It was Randy Orton that talked about that.
Hmm.
And he was like, I have like 4 moves and they're all low impact and everybody loves me anyway because like I know how what I'm doing out there.
Yeah, and I'm not. I do love the high flying style. Like obviously, I love Daniel Bryan, but at the same time, the price that they pay for it is with their body. It's the fact that he's ready to go back into neck surgery, and that he always has to be worried about concussions and stuff like that. But Randy doesn't have to worry about any of that, and he's always on TV for a pretty good amount, unless he gets like badly injured, in which case he goes off for a bit. But then he comes back, and he's not that. He's able to keep wrestling over all these years, and a lot of the wrestlers who do stuff like the stuff that Logan likes to do, it's eventually going to wear on their body, and it's eventually going to get them
Yeah, and it's like,
heavily,
is it
heavily
is it
injured.
worth it if you're not like over, you know? Because the one that
Mm,
immediately comes to mind is Ricochet, who is
mm-hmm.
unbelievably talented in the ring,
He
insane
is.
acrobat, and just got fucked
And yeah,
over so hard by riding that he left.
yeah,
So it's like,
and
is
I
it
don't
worth hurting your body that bad if they're not gonna
just
put it in for
yeah,
you,
they're
you
not.
know?
Yeah, it's, like oh my god, I'm on the minute champion. I was the speed champion.
Yeah, the speed, the WWE speed champion.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 50 and I'm not gonna be able to remember my granddaughter's name, but goddamn, I was the speed champion until I lost it, like 3 weeks
The
later.
the
That was
uh
the
the
price I
exception to
paid.
this rule, of course, being Rey Mysterio, who will wrestle until he dies.
Yes, of course. It doesn't matter that his they will continuously keep. He's the ship of thesis of wrestling.
Yes, they will.
All the
At some point, it's no longer Rey Mysterio in there.
yeah, at some point, Rey Mysterio stopped being Rey Mysterio when they replaced all his legs. But it's too late now. It's still
The amount of
considered Rey
cartilage in
Mysterio.
his body is no longer sufficient for him to be legitimately considered Rey Mysterio anymore. But
Exactly.
yeah,
But yeah, the Ricochet is a pretty good case for it because Logan actually mentioned the move that he did with Ricochet. He's not going to ever do it again because when he did it with Ricochet, he was good enough to make it seem like, okay, well, I know the risks in it. He knows the risk in it. We were able to pull it off, and it wasn't that bad. But when you don't fight Ricochet and you do it with a regular wrestler, then you're gonna run into problems of not everyone is as good as Ricochet and can provide your safety and stuff like that. And you're gonna end
yeah,
up in a situation where like I everything hurts and now everyone's cheering as I see LA Knight fuck up my prime truck and then I lose my championship and this just kind of sucks.
yeah.
Um
I'm trying to think of high flyers that actually really get up there, like fame wise. Because you think a lot of the big names, and none of them really were that. You know,
in terms of high flyers, maybe you can make an argument for HBK in his day just
even
because of the
then,
fact that he
we're
went
talking
off
like
the top.
elbow drop from the top rope, not a spinning backflip land on the top rope, not turnbuckle, flipping onto the concrete on the ground.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough because a lot of the ones, even
Seth,
that
I
I can.
guess.
Seth, yeah, but
I
then
think
the crowd turned on Seth the second that big man went for the sixth tsunami. I don't know
that's
if the
true.
if
Yeah. Well,
the
they
the
they
the
they're
Legion.
cheering for that either way. They were cheering when he was doing it to Truth too.
Yeah, at a certain when they did it to Truth, I was like, okay, I guess they just really like this.
They
But
just
when they
like
did
the
it to
violence.
Seth,
Like I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
when
it
they
was
did it to
weird
Seth, I
too
was
because
like,
they were cheering for Braun, and then they started singing Seth's song when he was laid out on the ground.
it's something else. It is Yeah, it's something else. In terms of yeah, Seth would be considered a high flyer. That
But
kind
I
of
mean,
makes it
even
though.
then,
I also think
look
he's a
compare him to even like Roman. Another like champion being at Roman is like Seth's got bad knees, bad back. He's going back out again for more surgery, and it's Roman discounting the sickness obviously.
yeah,
Is
obviously
like not out injured all the time or anything like that. And Roman has four moves that are pretty good, and he makes it
yeah.
work.
Somehow I think Seth is actually more injured than Dean Ambrose, or as I know him now as Mox. And Mox does like things like put razor blades on his forehead
Well, yeah,
and like
he's like
sticks.
the
He's like a deathmatch
Japanese most
wrestler.
extreme game show wrestler. Like that dude is.
Yeah, he's a deathmatch wrestler. I think he's in better like shape than Seth
Yeah, like dude,
somehow.
Seth is fucked up to put it
Yeah,
lightly.
yeah, he is. He's really fucked up, and it's a high price to pay. I don't know very many. Like even when I think about like Japanese wrestlers, the ones that I do remember that were high flying, it's like they eventually got, you know, they flew too close to the sun and they
Yeah,
got paralyzed.
because you think
So
Stone
yeah,
Cold, no. Rock,
no,
no.
no,
Undertaker, no.
no,
John Cena, no.
no,
Like
definite no.
none of those
Yeah,
people,
there's
but they were the ones that were pulling in all the draws. So like, the spectacle of it is cool and all, but how worth it is it? I guess is the question.
Eddie. But the thing that eventually got Eddie was that he was afraid that he was too small, so he kept taking all the steroids to make him
Yeah,
bigger.
and then he had a heart attack.
Um,
Yeah.
yes, and then he unfortunately gone. We don't mention him anymore. Ben was technically considered a high flyer, but then as soon as he won that championship, he did go down the card again. So, and then that
Was
high flying
Benoit a
stuff,
high flyer? I feel just the flying
he
headbutt,
does.
right?
Yeah, I mean that's the reason why eventually he got taken down is because the flying headbutt fucked his head up so badly
Yeah, well,
that
because it's funny watching people do it now where they land on their hands. He did not land on his hands.
no, he did not.
Not that
It's
anyone needs more talk about Chris Benoit because I'm sure that's the most
no,
discussed topic in wrestling history. But
of course it
it's
is.
crazy to like, why would you not land on your hands? What possible
It,
reason would you have for not landing on your hands?
He was insane in a lot of ways, but he would be considered a high flyer in some regards. But for the most part, a lot of the big ones I would think of it'd be like the cruiserweights in WCW when people would say, "Man, WCW has some of the greatest wrestling and then also really good story stuff." They would always say it's because Hulk Hogan was interesting as the NWO. All his matches sucked, but it didn't matter because the cruiserweights like carried the division in terms of wrestling. Like those were the dudes who were like, but they were always the openers. They were the
Right.
dudes who opened the show, and you'd be like, "That was a really good fucking match." I just watched Lance Storm and Eddie Guerrero go fucking at it for a bit, and I'm pumped. And now I'm gonna watch Hulk Hogan go like no for like 20 minutes on a rest hold against Roddy Piper in the main event. So that's kind of the role that they've always had. Not that they shouldn't be at higher risk, but for the most part, the reason they don't go with them is because I think it's like you said, a lot of their moves are dangerous. They get injured a lot, and that's also what happened to Finn. Is that yeah, he would be considered, I guess, a high flyer with a lot of good moves. But then when he got that championship and he had that match with Seth, he got injured, and it never really got better from that. And it's like, well, it's probably put it better to put it on the dudes who we know are safe
Yeah, who
and
aren't gonna
have the
hurt
four,
themselves.
yeah, who have the four moves, but all four of those moves the crowd loves,
Yeah,
and
and I
that's
mean
good enough.
that's really where it is, right? Is it's how over with the crowd is all of that stuff really getting you, you know? Like,
Yeah,
will you get the 5 out of 5 star online review? Maybe, but is the crowd freaking out when you come out? Eh.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing that matters probably the most. And we'll see where it goes from here because LA Knight busted out a fucking crazy ass move to finish off, to
I love LA Knight.
finish off Logan with.
I know
I
he's
I do too.
people are conflicted on him. I know because they're like, oh, he's just you
The
know
Rock.
aping The Rock and Stone Cold a little bit. Um, I don't
Mm.
care. I really like LA
Yep,
Knight.
I do. I really do, and I think I'm interested to see where his titleship goes from here after
Yeah,
he has the belt.
he's
I
his
hope
first defense is Santos Escobar. Um,
good. They're giving him some easy
yeah,
dudes
he's
to beat
no
at the
way he's gonna
beginning.
lose
That
that. Um,
yeah, but at least that will be a good match, I think,
yeah, no, I
which
like
is
Santos
important to
because
have right
he
now.
Santos was up against Andrade to win the #1 contender, and that was a good match too.
Yeah, both of those are fantastic. Oh, again, man, they never are gonna beat the allegations of having the Mexicans fight each other, having the
No,
Hispanics fight
no, they're
each other.
not. They're not.
It happens a lot. But anyway, that should be a good match. And where it goes from Logan, I don't know where he goes from here. Hopefully away forever, but I know that's not the case.
He'll
But
show
it
back.
sounds
I don't really know what he does either, though. Yeah, because he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who's gonna show up once every like 6 weeks for one match. Like he's not around long enough to have like a real feud, you know? Like he was quote
yeah.
unquote feuding with LA Knight, but LA Knight was doing all of it, you know? Like he would
He
show up and be
hasn't.
like, "Fuck you, Logan Paul," and everyone just hates Logan Paul enough that they were like, "Yeah, fuck him."
Yeah, he hasn't reached Brock Lesnar levels of oh god he's here.
He's
It's
just
more like
here
oh
now.
god.
Yeah, like
It's more
Logan
like
Paul
it's
can't
more
do
like
that.
ah god. Here we fucking go with this guy again.
Yeah,
He's back.
people are already asking for Brock back too, which is oof.
Oh, no, keep the piss freak away. I don't want Brock. We're so
Yeah.
good. We're
I
so
don't think we
better.
need Brock Lesnar back, but
People were like, "Oh
people
man,
like
I
him.
can't wait for all the Vince shit that is gone finally." And then they're like, "Can we bring back the number one poster child of Vince? Can we bring back Brock? Get out of here! You're out of your fucking mind. Don't want him back. Fuck that." Same thing goes for the other one, but thankfully they never talk about bringing her back. I forgot her name. I was gonna call her Sandy Hook Denier because I forgot her name. Ronda Rousey, my brother said. Thank
Is
you.
Ronda Rousey even on contract still? Doesn't she like hate WWE?
No, she does hate the WWE, but she's okay with Triple H. She just
Oh,
hated that she was thrust. Basically, it sounded like to me it was a skill issue. Basically, they put her up in one of the greatest opening matches ever, which was I believe her and Rock versus Triple H and Stephanie that made her look really good. And then from there she was never able to be as good. She and which I believe is true with her is like they basically said sink or swim after they provided me the ultimate floaty in the first match.
yeah, that's. I mean, that's fair.
I mean, yeah, that's rough. If it was any other woman, I'd feel bad for him, but I don't for her. So yeah, LA Knight versus Logan. Right person won. Really enjoyable last match. Uh, good job. The only time I'll ever say good job, Logan, is related to a wrestling match. even as much as I hate him. I don't actually want to see him that injured. That's how much I care about
Yeah, I don't
wrestling.
want to see him hurt or anything. I just don't
No.
want him to show up once every 5 months to cause problems and then leave again.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
all right, so next up we have Nia Jax versus Bailey. Good match. Good match.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Bailey has been weird for me, kind of in the same vein as Cody, actually.
Hmm.
Where it feels like ever since they got their title, it's just been like, I am going to wrestle this person for my title now. And then they do it, and then they're like, okay, now I am going to wrestle this person for my title now. Like, there hasn't really been anything going on,
Yeah.
compared to like
There really
Damien,
is.
and he had Gunther coming after him, Seth coming back, Drew's whole thing with trying to get the belt, like that. Damien was all tied into all of that with the CM Punk stuff for a while. Um, like that all feels cohesive and like coherent. Whereas like both Bailey and Cody have basically been like, I am going to wrestle this person. I have beaten this person. I am going to wrestle this person. Like there's no interconnectivity in any of it. And now we're dragging Cody back into the bloodline, which is a whole other thing. But
Yeah.
I'm glad to see the title on Nia because I think will Tiffany cash in on Nia or not? Like drama is gonna be better than Bailey basically being like, I'm a cool girl. People like me. I'm a good guy. I will wrestle you. Okay, I did,
Yeah.
and then moving on.
It's really funny that the only time that they're able to to care about female storylines is when the storyline is will they won't they for Dominic Mysterio. And it's like surely you can come up with
There
something
has to be
better.
something better. Yeah, I know.
And the answer is no, because if they did, it would have given it to Bailey. So
Yeah,
there,
that's true. Like
at
I,
least with
for the longest
mhm.
time too, I thought I was really into the women's like tag division, and then I realized no, I'm not. I just think Bianca Belair is really, really good at wrestling.
Yeah, which she is. She's
She is.
fantastic.
I really like
They
her,
don't.
but
Yeah, they don't just give. They don't give. They barely give a lot of the men storylines that when they need it. And for Bailey right now, there was just really nothing for
yeah,
her other
they
than
had
I'm gonna
nothing
defend.
for her, which
No,
is
which is a
because she's
shame
good,
because
so it sucks.
she is. Which is a shame because I feel like they could have had went so many directions and then they just decided to do none of it. And then they're like, okay, well, your time is up. It's Naya's time now. And at least with Naya, they can give something here, and she has improved in the ring, and she's done a lot better. It's far as much as I want to continuously meme on her for the my whole bit. At some point, you have to understand when a wrestler is actually trying to improve,
Yeah, I
and
mean she's putting in
it
real
is
effort. It's hard to
to
hate on that.
to stay on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has escaped Titus O'Neil territory of I will make fun of you for the one funny thing that you did in a fuck up. She's evolved past that. As much as I want to continuously do that to her, it's past the point.
And
She's
it kind
proven
of sucks
herself.
because I feel like there's a lot of really good female talent in WWE right now. Like
There
Tiffany's
are.
really good, even though she's crazy. Um,
Mhm.
Io Sky is amazing, really, really good. Bianca, like Jade is not like that good, but I like her still.
As I said when I when my brother I was talking to my brother when she originally was going away from AEW to WWE, I said, "Do you think she's gonna learn how to wrestle?" And the answer is she has not, but she has an amazing look to her,
She has a
which
great look,
is
and there's a few moves that she
fantastic.
puts her whole fucking soul into. And
Yes. So
there's a few moves she does that she puts so much heart into that I legitimately think that she just hits them, and the other person just gets hurt. Like
that
like
might be
that
the
one
case.
kick she started doing where she like jumps up in the air and like axe kicks, or like I don't know what kind of kick, but like she jumps and then picks her foot up and like kicks out when she lands. It hits. That just looks like it hits people. Like I don't know how you fake that. That just looks like they got hit.
Yeah, it's she'll. I think she will get there eventually. It's just that she's not there now, and I can see a lot of people being like, "You guys hyped her up the whole bunch." I feel like it should have been a little bit better, but give her more time. I think she'll
Yeah, I
eventually find her groove where she'll have the requisite four moves that she needs that are
yeah, and
gonna
I
get
think
people
so too.
hyped by
I
her.
I think honestly part of maybe the problem now is that she's still tagging with Bianca, and so they just let Bianca wrestle like 6 of the 7 minutes of the match,
Oh, and that
and
does
then
not do any
Jade just kind of
favors for
goes
her.
in and like does her finisher, and they win. Like.
The cleanup, basically, yeah.
Yeah,
The
which I get it when you want, you're trying to develop her and you want to have her with somebody like Bianca so Bianca can carry the match, and so she's not like
Mhm.
out there on her own flailing. But it's rough when every match is like Bianca versus two people, and then Jade comes in and just kind of stomps them out at the end and cleans up.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough, but yeah, there's a lot of good, talented one. Asuka is also one of my favorite
Yeah,
Goldberg.
Asuka's
Absolutely
great.
the greatest.
It's really good.
My favorite thing related to the Xbox because she's a former Xbox magazine reviewer in Japan.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely love everything about her. I absolutely love. So they have a lot of good women there. It's just that sometimes it feels like it's a struggle to get them the proper story time. And this the true is the same for a lot of male wrestlers as well. As we talk about a lot of them, and they're like, yeah, that's a really good wrestler that they're just not really doing anything with, or they're jobbing out on speed, whatever thing that they have them going for. So yeah, Naya. Let's see where she goes from here. I think
Yeah,
she's
I,
got a
I
good
have.
starting point.
Unfortunately, she got like no time on SmackDown because they had to give it all for Roman Reigns. But
Of course.
she's getting a big thing this Friday, so hopefully that's good.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
hope.
so next up we have Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with special guest referee Seth Rollins.
Okay. I think I think maybe this match might have sucked. But tell me, did you
It
like this?
it I don't know. Um, Seth being there felt weird, and it definitely felt like they had nothing for him to do. So they were like, "Shit, let's do this." Um,
Yeah, I think
I
the
really
problem
liked
with me
the
was the Seth
homage
part.
to Bret Hart and The Undertaker. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the actual match, I don't know, man. It, maybe it's just because it was
Yeah,
the only one I think that didn't have a title on it. Um, but it was not that entertaining. Also, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe as well that CM Punk, gray-haired ass CM Punk, is like throwing down with a dude 3 times as big as him, fucking Drew McIntyre, that walked him on his back all the way
it's
from the
true.
parking lot to the main stage.
Yeah. And I was also having a little bit of a problem here of like this is my thing, which is like I always find it really annoying when they do this. When it's a wrestler who has been like, especially with Drew, where he's like, I'm gonna kill CM Punk, I'm gonna destroy him, I'm gonna murder him, I'm gonna like drag his corpse in front of his dog and make his like do all this. He's saying all this. The match goes in, 5 minutes in, pin attempt. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, yeah,
Like legitimately, are you angry at this man, or are you just trying to put on a regular match? Like I wanted something more. I wanted there to be actual, like the legit anger that he does and saes that he has wasn't shown in the match at all to me.
yeah.
How
I
much
feel
of
like
it
it's
was
weird too because Seth even comments on that, doesn't he, at one point?
he does.
'Cause
He's
he's like, I
right.
thought you wanted to kill him. He's still alive. It's like, damn, you're really pointing that
Yeah,
out.
and I feel like they lost the crowd halfway into it because they started fucking just singing Seth Rollins' theme. I feel like they legitimately lost the crowd about halfway into the match, and then they continued going for it. The best way I can describe this match is that it reminds me of um shit. What was the name of it? It was uh, hold up. Let me remember his name because I remember the name of his finishing move.
Who's? Drew's?
Wing.
Are we talking the
Okay, it was
Claymore or the go
okay.
to
So it
sleep?
was it reminded me of Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund when they had an I Quit match and the person that was the special guest referee was Roddy Piper, and this was supposed to be a blood feud. Like Bret Hart lost the title because of this man, and then he lost it instantly to Diesel back in the day. So there was no title on the line. It was literally just an I quit match. I hate you. One of us is going down, and then the special guest referee immediately made it into a comedy show where he was like
Yeah.
there was like a point there was a point where you can literally see them lose the crowd, and it was when he said, do you quit, to Bob Backlund, who was currently in a submission hold by Bret Hart, and he said no, and then he goes, Okay. And he says, "Do you quit?" to Bret Hart. And then Bret Hart looks at him and goes, "No." And people laughed, and that was it. They had basically killed any heat that they had for each other, any care that they had for it, and it was done. And this was not as bad as that, but I feel like I needed more heat, and I think there's also an issue of you can't have blood in WWE unless they like pre-approve it by like 7 different people. So it's hard
Yeah,
to like establish like
that they're
there's
going
like
that hard
actual
on each
animosity.
other.
Yeah. And now it seems like they're going to be doing a strap match, which I think is a reference to, again, like most things with CM Punk. CM Punk had an amazing strap match in AEW that was like crazy bloody. It was insane. I think Cody has had one as well. I don't think it will be that good in WWE just because they can't really go as far. For good reasons as well. You know, for the most part, I think a lot of people who watch WWE aren't interested to see their dudes like have crimson masks 30 seconds into a match. It's
Sure.
fine. But I need to see some form of animosity between the two, and this match didn't feel like a blow off. It felt like the first, and it just did like it had trouble conveying to me that Drew McIntyre was actually a man who was ready to destroy CM Punk. He felt like more as someone going like, "All right, it's time to wrap this shit up. I don't actually care that much about getting hands on you." It turns out, and then the fact that his dumbass actually thought he was done with CM Punk after winning is also stupid. But
Yeah.
I get
Well, I'm also like
um
the bracelet thing is not enough anymore. Like, do
no.
something
As much
else.
as I liked Larry, I do like Larry.
Well, I get the
Uh,
original idea of it is like that's very important to him and has his wife's name on it, but also like it's been a long time now. Coulda You coulda let him lose at SummerSlam and get the bracelet back still though. You know?
yeah, you
Like
didn't have to.
maybe he pulls the bracelet and puts it back on, but then loses the match. Like fine.
Yeah,
Got the moral victory. But then he lost it again,
you,
and they're still trying to do the bracelet. Like every single time they talk to CM Punk, he's like, he's got a bracelet with my wife and dog's name on. I'm like, dog, that is made of beads and a little bit of fishing line. I need you to stop.
I need you to get back a little bit more. He's like, he's like, it's a deeper. He's tried so hard to why he's like, it's a deeper meaning. It's not the bracelet. It's what the bracelet represents. And I'm like, that's fine, but it does not change the fact that a lot of this time when you're saying it, it still makes it look like you care more about the bracelet.
Yeah,
Like there is
because you can
a
say it's what the
deeper.
bracelet represents, but the bracelet still represents that. So that's the thing you're fixated on, regardless.
And then it also does seem a little bit funny when he's like, my wife, AJ, my dog.
Yeah, it's not even like their kid. It's like my dog. It's like, all right, man.
And then listen, I understand that Larry's been through a lot. He was there at All In, the brawl out. We almost lost him when CM Punk went full crazy and started fucking throwing hands at AEW. But not a lot of people don't know that. So a lot of it is just like your dog Larry matters that much to you. And to be fair, and like I'm all for it for him loving his dog. I would feel the same way if someone did the same for one of our dogs. If Drew McIntyre tried to talk shit about my dog, I would immediately be throwing hands with him, and I know I'd lose that shit. So I understand the rage, but I think it just needs to be conveyed just a little bit better. So we'll see if they can go forward from here. But I don't know how much longer they can do this between the two. It really does feel like there has to be at some point an end all, and then that's it. The decision is made, and I feel like no matter, I think they're avoiding that because they're afraid of being like, well, we want to have Drew McIntyre go for the title, and we can't have him losing to Old Man Punk, but also this is Old Man Punk's return match, so I'm not sure
Old
if we can
Old
have
Man
him
Punk
lose.
just doesn't do it for me, man. I like CM Punk. Like I don't think he's bad as a
Mm.
talent or whatever. Um,
No, I think he's
I'll say he's very clearly over past his prime in the ring.
yes,
Um,
he is.
and it's really weird for me to be like we have to keep pushing him with Drew because they pulled Drew out of the world title like scene for this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but it seemed like they were trying to put him back in because he was like, why does Randy Orton get a shot? Why don't I get one? And then now Punk is back again. They have to fight Punk again, and I guess the crowd really likes it. I mean, because they're pushing it super hard, but
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything for me really. I don't know.
No. And I feel like what CM Punk is still really good at is being able to tell a story. I just feel like this one's maybe gone on a little bit too
Too
long,
long
and they
without
need
enough
to.
substance to it. Like if you wanted it to
Yeah,
keep going, it probably should have escalated past the bracelet at this point. Um, it
yeah.
hasn't, so I'm losing interest.
Yeah, so we'll see how much longer it can go on. Like, there's only so many promos that you can do where you're just like, shoot, brother, let me tell you some real stuff. And it's just like I think it actually legitimately ended when he took that photo with Jack Perry. I was like, well, this is it. There's literally nothing he can like. There's literally nothing CM Punk can come back from than from him taking a picture with the guy that he strangled that got him fired in the last place. I was like, that's so fucking good. I'm glad that that Punk has a good enough like yeah, go do that. That he like said like I think I should do this, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Because that's the only because if this was like legit old Punk and he didn't ask for Punk's attention, oh my god, they are testing his mettle for how much longer he could stay with the company if he did it behind his back. But the fact that he was enough to go like, no, this is good, and he's right. That basically ended it for me right there. I was like, there's no coming back from this. There's legit nothing he can say or he can do really that can be like, huh, what about you, Drew? And it's like, well, you got nothing, man. This is it. This is the funniest shit ever. Real fucking good photo that you got going on here. But yeah, hopefully, yeah, this match unfortunately didn't do it for me, but hopefully the next one, his strap match, will be a little bit better for it, and we'll feel a
Hopefully.
little bit more anger towards it than what I felt in this match. And I did think Seth did a funny job. I don't think this is. I, it's unfortunate he didn't get his short shorts in time, but I thought that
Yeah.
he was funny as the ref.
All
So
right.
there we go.
We can move on now to Gunther versus Damian Priest.
Turns out the poor people lose.
The poor people lose. Really good match. I really like this match. Um,
This might be my favorite match of the night
I think
actually.
it was my favorite one as well. Um, both lore wise and the graps were good. Um,
Yeah, it's so good. It made people forget that they hated Damian Priest.
yeah, right. Like this match was so good that people forgot that they hated every single thing about Damian's title run until this match. Now they're like,
Yeah,
amazing world
basically.
title run by Damian Priest.
That's how good of a heel I think Gunther is. I think they really have knocked it out of the park with this guy. He did some the match itself amazing, great stuff, great story being told. The end of it, the betrayal, it made me care about like man. It made me actually have feelings towards this group that for the most part in my eyes was a group of jobbers. But at least it seemed like they were friends, and it's just if you felt the heartbreak, the fucking oh god, the breaking out when he broke out of it because he saw that
That
his
was so fucking good. When he had him in the sleeper and he saw Finn again and he got so pissed that he broke it and grabbed Finn
yes, that was good, but then
was
also the reason that
crazy.
he was able to break out because he saw Finn get hit. Like it was a double case of just like ultimate
Well, yeah,
betrayal and then
because
like
well, the first time was he saw Finn get hit and that gave him the the Super Saiyan power up, and he
yeah.
started wailing on Gunther. And then when he went to win, he got the betrayal. Also, this is maybe the first time I've ever seen a wrestler just watch the fucking Titantron replay.
It was so good. Yes, he watched the
Because
replay to
most of
know
the
what
time they're
happened.
like, "What happened?" He just stood up and watched the replay. It was so good.
It was. And the way that Finn just stood there and watched the entire time. Like he didn't even really move. Like when he broke free from the grasp and he went for him and he still just stared him down. Oh, so good. And then it ended and he lost it and I was like, God damn. That was a good ass match. That was because it really did feel like it was a match of like it felt like at the beginning of it seemed like Gunther was gonna learn his lesson of which I feel like is the current storyline that they're going with is that he's underestimating a lot of his opponents and it's making him look stupid. During this match, he did it with Damien, and then obviously with Randy, he when he did the promo, when he said, "You will never RKO me," and then fucking
And
got
then got
RKO'd out of
RKO'd
nowhere.
immediately. Yeah.
They've done a good job of establishing that of like that's his actual main weakness currently going on,
Is that he's just
and
too
it all
confident?
started with.
Yeah.
Yes, he gets too confident in himself, which is the same reason he lost to Sammy, why he almost lost to Damien, why he was able to get RKO'd. Did a good job establishing that. The match itself, insanely good. Good back and forth between them. I I think it is a good move to have Gunther as a champion because I think he's doing a really good job of being a heel people don't cheer, which is like something that is so fucking rare in
Yes.
wrestling. It is like there's no justification here. There's like no one on the side of like Gunther going like, actually, you're right. The poors do have it too good, and they like there's no
The
one.
poors are too lucky in this country,
He's right.
actually.
These poors are getting too uppity. Oh my god! It's like nobody's on Gunther's side. Uh, what? There is apparently one person my brother says, but I don't know who it
There's
is.
whoa, Ludwig Kaiser? Yeah, maybe.
I guess. But he's
Oh,
doing some amazing work as a heel, and I feel like that we need that back of like the champion that is just straight up hated and can help establish like the fucking miracle work he did with Damien of where he's hotter than he was than when he had the championship is amazing. Some really good stuff, and a lot of it comes down to, of course, the friendship of Damien and Finn that they're able to establish it with each other, but also the work that he put in to make Damien be able to share more about himself and make it so like it's like okay now I can actually like legitimately care about this guy and like the actual struggles that he's going through of trying to not be looked down on stuff and fuck such a good match.
yeah, no, it was great. It took someone who I think was kind of boring prior to that, because
Mm,
Damien was in this weird rut where it was like he was kind of getting overshadowed by the Dom and Liv stuff.
mm-hmm.
Um, and it seemed like his only job was just to walk in and be like, "Hey, Dom, what are you doing? Hey!" Like every time Dom would do anything. Um, and he was like, what did I say? He was Judgment Day's disappointed dad for a long time, and that was like his only role.
Yep.
So getting an actual story about like him with Gunther was really good. I really like Gunther in general. He
Mhm.
he exudes that aura. You know, he's got an amazing aura. His intro music is literally just Sephiroth's theme song, but with his own name. Um, he's amazing. Match was really
He is.
good. I'm looking forward to Gunther versus Randy because I really like Randy. Kind of sad that they're feeding him to Gunther for Gunther's first W,
Yep.
but it is what it is.
Yeah. And the stuff he's done with Randy has also been pretty good.
Yeah,
Talking about it is it
I'm a
does
big
feel
fan of Gunther.
yeah he's hitting the right notes and he's doing a lot of good stuff and very interested to see how far this goes. I really do think it's likely to see a big long reign for him and when the first person to actually legitimately beat him pops up, it's going to be insane. It's going to be huge. Um, Yeah, really good. I'm really interested to see where this match is so good. It actually made me go, man, I'm really interested to see where this Judgment Day goes. And then Raw hit. I'm like, that's right. These dudes are all jobbers.
Yeah, right. Like they, the Gunther match was so good, it made you more excited than you should have been for this
Yeah,
other
and
crap.
I was like, okay, work on it, get better, make Finn look better, and then we'll start going from here. But the way that, oh my god, it was so fucking funny when the next Raw, when JD McDonough's like, "You never wanted me on this team, and now I'm gonna show you what's up." And they cut to Damien, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, JD McDonough."
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna fucking murder you, JD McDonough, and then he did.
And then he did
He beat the shit out of him.
no
It
contest.
also
He hit him with like
it reminded
crazy
me
moves.
of the meme of Damien where JD's like, "It's okay, man," and he points and goes, "Why are you talking to me?" It's so fucking funny.
Oh, it is. It really is gonna be just to see where they go from here with the judgment. Do you think they're actually gonna change? We talked about this a little bit off, but do you think they're actually legitimately gonna change the Judgment Days a name
Oh, to
to
the street trash,
Street Trash? Whereas I was calling them Trash
the trash
Boys,
boys.
or as you called them, the Street
Yeah,
Rats.
I was stuck in my Aladdin right there. Um, I I feel like they thought it was cool because they're like, oh, Gunther called Damien street trash. He'll hate that. But then it was like, oh, we're calling ourselves that. And I think that hopefully creative is like, wait a minute, this is fucking stupid.
This is a terrible idea.
No
Let's
one
not go
likes it,
through
and
it.
everyone's clowning on the name, so I can't imagine that they'll keep it. Um,
Yeah, but then they did name that most recent girls trio like for the Super Nitro Plus Blasters or whatever. I don't remember
oh
even what they're
yeah, oh
called,
my
but it was
God, what was it's so bad. Um,
a I don't remember. It's just really
hang on,
bad.
I'm
Where it's
looking
just
it
like,
up because it's fucking terrible. Um, because they said it because I was rewatching it today.
hmm
For this, and they said it, and I was like, "There's no fucking way that that's
there's
their team
just
name."
no
The Pure Fusion Collective.
so
It's
bad,
so bad. It's
so
crazy how bad it
bad.
is, dude.
No, that's so bad. I
It's
mean,
fucking
it
astonishing how bad that name is.
it might be worse than when they called the female trio the Submission Society, not knowing that that was the name of a porn site. Like
Yeah,
that was
that's
maybe the
that's a
worst.
bad one too. But yeah, this
But this is
this
just
isn't even like funny bad. This is just like what the fuck?
this sounds like that dude in college who had like a really sick prog rock band that he wanted you to go attend to. It sounds like just a terrible,
It's
terrible
it's
name.
atrocious, dude. It's so awful.
Yeah, so hopefully they don't change the name of the Judgment Day. I understand that maybe it's a little bit awkward. They do have those shirts that say like forever Ray and then they have all the names on it. Of like, yo, maybe we should get rid of some of these shirts because a lot of these shirts feature the name of the friends that we've excommunicated away from each other. But I don't know if Judgment Day is just a really good name to say and it's memorable. I doubt that they change it to the Street Trash or whatever they decide to do it. If it is a new name change, hopefully it's something good, something that's actually like threatening. But we'll see.
I well, we'll fucking see, won't we?
Yeah, we'll fucking see.
I man, I just don't know what to think really of it. Like not to be dramatic here, but I do not know what the fuck to think of the new Judgment Day.
Yeah, it's I think they're in a little bit better place.
We're on the same conversation we've already had, but
We
like
had it. It is mind boggling. As much as bad as it is, it's kind of similar to the new Bloodline, where the new Bloodline is, which we're gonna get to them eventually, but they they're like in a new Bloodline, but in a much worse place, if that makes sense.
yeah, well because the
Because
new bloodline kind of always carried the understanding that Roman Reigns was coming back.
yes,
Um and then it would be different after that happened. There is no Roman Reigns to come back here because the Roman Reigns equivalent is like, you know, Rhea and Davian, who are
yeah,
just
they ain't
fighting
coming back
them now. And so it's like I don't know, man. And there's
unless
no like
Carlito has
the
the
new
chance to
bloodline
do the
also
Finn.
has Jacob Fatu, who's amazing.
Yes,
Even though
they don't have a Jacob Fatu.
they don't have a Jacob Fatu, even though they hurt Jacob Fatu at SummerSlam. Um,
Yeah,
it's just like there's no appeal to them. I feel like the appeal of the Judgment Day has always kind of just been Rhea Ripley. Um,
yeah, until recently, and
until
then it
recent,
was
like
also Damon.
Damien got big appeal right when he got kicked from the Judgment Day.
Yes, and a lot of people were even memeing him as one of the worst Money in the Bank holders because he was like, "Is he
Yeah, because
stupid?"
he had the like the briefcase for ages and it
Cashed it in,
never
including in times
cashed
where it would have
anything.
been
Yeah,
really good to cash it in. Um, yeah, well, we'll see. We did finally circle back around it, but a lot of the Judgment Day stuff needs to be worked on if they want to make them a top threat of some kind. It's a little bit tough out there when you don't have a legitimate champion, and it's due to the faults of WWE itself that tag teams are not viewed as bigger threats than
I'm
they are.
so sad at the state of tag teams. Like I like tag team wrestling. That was like one of my
I
big
do,
things back because I was, I was the stereotypical. I like the attitude and ruthless aggression era, like one of those
of course.
losers. Um,
Hardy Boys, a fellow loser, of course.
yeah, like I really liked, I liked Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, the New Age Outlaws, like all that kind of stuff. I
Hmm
uh, I
Chainsaw
really like,
Charlie and Mankind.
yeah, hey, yeah. But I really like tag team wrestling, or like the Rock and Sock connection.
Yeah,
um,
the idea of like these two dudes are teaming up
yeah,
and they can
it's
have a
just cool,
good
and you
tag team.
you can do cool things with it. And I think the women's tag division is kind of neat-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like Bianca and Jade. I like Damage Control. The men's tag division feels miserable, just devoid of anything. It's like
Yeah,
the Street Profits, who I don't really care about very much.
fair.
I think they're fine. I don't really care about them. DIY, who are like the most nothing white boys ever.
DX, don't hit him! Don't hit my boys DX like this.
Uh,
Yeah,
and then we have,
Tozawa Noise.
the Bloodline, which Jacob Fatu is too good to be a tag champion with Tama Tonga. He is. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm
True.
trying to think. The Miz and R-Truth, who look like they're going to break up pretty soon, I think, is what's
The
going to
hard
happen.
truth.
Yeah. Um, Certainly going to break up pretty soon, I think.
Yeah. They have the annoying team of Austin Theory and
A-Town Down
Australia.
Under. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate them. I
I hate
refuse to
them
say
too. They
that name.
suck. They're awful.
They
And
can
they
take a
don't.
really good move though. The when they started doing the beatdown, I think Austin Theory took an insane bump to make it was like, damn, I forget that you are good at wrestling, but goddamn, are you not doing anything right now?
Yeah, Austin Theory is really good at getting hit. Like
Yes, fantastic at
he
getting
takes
hit.
bumps like crazy. Dude can make anything look good. He made Jelly
Yep.
Roll look good for a minute there.
Jelly rolls in the ring.
Oh, by the way, this is totally unrelated to any of the matches. It's so fucking funny to me that anytime they post a clip like in a commercial from SummerSlam, they play that song, and it ends with the line like on a jelly roll, and it's like not at all like a cool, tough sounding song. And they play it every single time they show any clip from SummerSlam, no matter what it is. They
Yeah.
showed it last SmackDown where it showed Roman Reigns beating the shit out of Solo Sikoa, and they were like, "Near, near, near, near on a jelly roll." I was losing my mind.
Jelly roll. I forgot what was during the one match where they were beating someone up and they said, "Not in front of Jelly Roll." Was it the Logan match? Yes,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
going
it
in,
was.
not in front of Jelly Roll. This is my
Uh,
favorite part about it.
yeah, well, even
Um,
he trashed Austin Theory.
he did. Yeah, the tag, and then I'm for. Oh my god, I'm so sad. It's like watching your parents divorce in slow time. The destruction of the new day is happening right before our very eyes, and there's nothing I can
Yes,
do to stop it.
yes. To
I,
the
it
freaking what is their shit? The New Testament or something? Like, who gives a shit about the New Testament? Anybody?
Yeah, by the way, I think the funniest thing about the New Testament is someone noticed has two managers, neither of them talk. I was like, wait, you're right. They do have two managers. Neither one of them talk. But yeah, it's so sad. And seeing. And it's especially funny because, like, you forget that when Odyssey Jones debuted, it was him destroying a tag team solo, basically.
Yep.
And it was like, I mean, I guess the answer was they should have just called Odyssey Jones from the beginning. Apparently, the answer to the tag team division, if you get one big fat guy,
Just get a huge
they will
dude.
take
Yeah.
down. Yeah, he will take down your entire division solo. Like at this point, it's happened 3 times in the last 3 weeks.
Maybe that's what Bronson Reed should be doing.
That's what he should be doing. Yes, and then the other one is obviously, of course, Otis and
Oh, Alpha Academy.
Tozawa.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
American Made.
Now that he's free, Otis is free
Yeah,
now.
free Otis.
I watched that clip like 7 times because I said my boy is finally free.
My boy is free.
They
Um,
finally did it. He came out to the shirt that said Otis is free. Pretty
Speaking
good. But yeah,
of American Made, what a nothing group of individuals the Creed brothers are. Have they said a single word other than being Chad Gable's like attack dogs?
I don't think so.
I don't
I
think
think
so.
they've said, "Ow, Wyatt six." That really hurts. I mean, that's basically all they've been.
Yeah.
Other than like grunts in
Imagine
the ring, I
teaming
don't
up
think
with
they've.
Chad Gable after he got shot in the head by Uncle Howdy and deciding that was the good time to team up with him.
Like, listen, man, your ops are our ops. Unfortunately, you're picking a fight with an entire like country cult. So I don't know. I don't know if this was maybe the greatest ideas, but we never said we were smart boys. We're alpha boys. It is yeah. I think the White Six is maybe the one tag team that they have that is looking promising. And based off of the rumors that Pentagon and his brother Phoenix are coming to WWE, I would hope they would have something for him because Pentagon and Phoenix are an amazing tag team. But the problem is that if they do come to WWE, because they've already said outright, I'm not going to NXT. The Pentagon said like, "Yo, I don't want to go to NXT," and I think they basically said we can make that happen. So we'll
Sure,
see.
sure. Yeah, fine.
I think they said sure, but I think it was literally one of the things is like I don't want to go to NXT, and I think they were like, yeah, okay.
I
They're an
feel you
amazing tag
on
team,
that.
but I don't know if they can save an entire division by themselves. We need more of the tag teams, and we need more like focus on them. That isn't just them
Well, I
getting their
think
ass kicked.
yeah, well that's part of it is that tag teams are just always them getting their ass kicked. But the other part of it is it feels like they only use tag teams to be like, "Oh, aren't you excited for when they break up?" Like,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
get that sometimes you have to split up a tag, like you can't have a tag teams going forever. But the tag division just feels like every single tag team is waiting for the fuse to light. Like, they're pushing even A-Town Down Under. They're like, when is Austin Theory gonna wise up to this asshole Grayson Waller? Like,
Eventually.
yeah, it's just weird, man. Like, I don't.
Yeah, even DIY and their very unfortunate loss. One of the biggest thing in NXT was when they did break up and they started going against each other. So, and then Jey Uso obviously and Jimmy they broke up
Right.
as well, and they were actual brothers. The only one that they always said would never break up because they make too much merchandise was the New Day, and unfortunately, after Biggie, it
Apparently
doesn't look
not
like Biggie's.
anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Biggie's coming back anytime soon. And the current direction it looks like, I really do hope it's just a really weird swerve, and they're actually gonna go. You know what? I do believe in my friend, and I do believe in here. Kofi is just a little bit too excitable, and that's my friend, and I understand it. And they come to an understanding, and it's like a new thing until Biggie actually gets legitimately healed up. And then Odyssey Jones goes like, you know what? My time here is done. Go ahead, Biggie. Go back in there. And then everyone leaves happy. That's like the only thing that could ever happen. It's the only tag team, and it's only because New Day has always broken the idea of them breaking up because they have always said outright, we don't want to do that and we make too much money for them now that they have to actually listen to us. But maybe it's been long enough where they're just like, we have to try something with you. And hopefully, I really don't want it to be a breakup, but it's looking more and more like it's like the
It's
world's saddest breakup happening right in front of my
yeah,
eyes.
and it's weird because like I also don't think they're selling the breakup very well because um Kofi is like so obviously not paying attention to how blatantly and clearly not chill Woods is with everything that's going on right now.
Yep.
Like he's visibly not cool and they're like not talking about it at all. And so it feels kind of like a contrived breakup of like why would you not
It
talk
it
about
it
this at
kind of
all?
feels Kofi is acting like the husband who doesn't know that it's over.
Yeah, that
And
doesn't realize that the wife is on the phone with someone else in the other room right now.
yeah, and it's like he doesn't realize he's the wife is feeling like they've drifted apart and it's time for him to go off. He's trying to spice up their relationship and like, no, no, no. Remember when we had Big E? It's not. This isn't a replacement for Big E, but it's a big man. The
It's a
three of
large
us. Let's
man.
go, New Day. And it's like, oh man. And then also all the posts he's been making of like, that's right, all tag teams leave and gone, but you know who never leaves? The New Day. He 100% is acting like the husband who does not know he's divorced. He's about to get the divorce papers. So we'll see if that go how long they can keep that up. I think we're reaching the point where the story is going to end up one way or the other, but man, sad state of things for tag teams. And now I think it's finally time to get on to that last match. Because speaking of tag teams, the
Yeah.
tag team champs
God.
were involved in this final match.
All right. Last match Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa Bloodline Rules, which is slang for what awesome cameo are you going to get in this
They
match?
said, "We all know you love Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's just try and do that on our side this time." And they, of course, they were got it right because they got back my boy Arn Anderson. That's right, he's armed and ready. He was the one who said, "Listen up, we need Cody needs your help," and they got out of their hospital beds that they were
Yeah,
standing in.
that's one of the dumbest things about this match. So they make a point of this whole thing of like, oh my god, the bloodline is destroyed. Randy Orton. Oh my God, they've destroyed Kevin Owens. And then they're like, Cody is out of allies. Oh no, he's not. It's fucking Randy Orton and Kevin Owens again.
And the best, the only reason I can assume it's like that is because Arn Anderson told him I made some phone calls, so I can only assume he called whatever doctor and filled them up with whatever steroids they needed to get their ass to the ring and make them instantly better. And then he also talked to Roman himself and said, "Listen, Roman, I know you hate him, but you hate Solo Sikoa more." And he was like, "You're right." That's what I assume because Arn Anderson said right at the beginning, "You got friends still in there. I made some calls." Who did he call? Who
Yeah.
would he have called other
Well,
than
did he call Randy and Kevin? And it's just like, I need you up here. I know they broke your neck last week on SmackDown, but I need you up here.
he just called them up and said, "I need y'all to lock in," and then they're like, "Oh, what? You know what? You're right." And they did like the Rock in that one Fast and Furious movie, and they muscled out of their
Yeah, they
their
flexed
caskets that
out
they
of their
were,
casts.
and they went off to go do it. That's
And
the only
also,
understanding.
they were there for all of like a second and a half. So you couldn't have had anybody else do that? You know?
Yeah, anyone else could have gone
Literally,
in there
because
to.
a whole big angle of it was like, well, Cody's out of allies and he still took the bloodline match. What the hell is it going to do? What are they going to do? And it was just Randy and Kevin, just fine. They're just okay.
This would have been so much better if it was just like not Randy and KO. So it was like, who's gonna take him out? Otis music hits, and he comes out, pumping up, and he's like, "I'm here to save you, Cody. I got the call from Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson called me.
Arn Anderson called me. I'm ready to help. Otis is free, and so will Cody Rhodes." And he comes in and beats the shit out of Tomatonga or whatever.
Oh my
That would have
God.
been as good as anything else.
I
It would
think
have been actually been way funnier if they had just
it
called
would have
up
been
people who were
funnier if it was just
known.
someone like out of the blue. And they were just like, oh my God, like, oh shit, it's Xavier Woods and Tozawa. Like, oh God.
Oh my god, they answered the call to Salva and Kofi Kingston and
Arn
Xavier
Anderson
Woods.
answered the call, put out the call.
By God, it's Braun Strowman. He answered the call. Out he comes. My
All of
God,
that
is
would have been
that?
fun. It's just so like if you were gonna bill it as like, oh no, like not this, not no Randy, no Kevin. What are we gonna do? Then at some point, you know, find somebody else instead of just sending him back out. Never mind, they're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, is that Jelly Roll? He answered the call from Arn Anderson. He's
It's
coming to
Jelly
help
Roll and
Cody.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh my God, they've come. They've answered the call. No way. Kid Rock, he's back. He's gonna fresh off the Trump tour. He's ready to go help Cody Rhodes for America. My God.
It's wild, dude.
Fred
But
Durst, no way. Limp Bizkit himself have come out to help Cody
and you know,
Rhodes.
the
My God.
last Bloodline match made very little sense when it
Yes,
was just like
correct.
John Cena and The Undertaker just showed the fuck up. So like, did you have to have like a storyline reason? Because I
To bring
assumed they were
him.
like, it doesn't make sense for anyone else to just show up. But it didn't make sense
Mhm.
for John Cena and The Undertaker to show up either, and it was cool. So like, fuck
It's,
it, man.
it's, yeah, fuck it. My God, it's Batista. He's back
Yeah,
from
just
filming a
send out
movie.
Batista and like Kurt Angle. Like, I don't care. Like,
Fair enough.
bring back
That
bring back decrepit old Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash again for the like in the Sting match.
My God, Hulk Hogan said he had one more in him, and he meant to take down Tama
It's the
Tonga.
NWO, and they're here to take out Tongaloa.
The living members of the NWO have returned. Kevin Nash said, "I got my knees can go for one last go," and he's coming to save Cody Rhodes. There could have been yes, they could have maybe made the surprises a little bit better. It would have been way funnier. The
Because I
thing
think
I would
even
have really
when the Bloodline started jumping him, one of the announcers was like, "Oh my God!" and who's gonna help Cody? And then it was just KO's music.
yeah, I thought it would have been hilarious of when everyone thought when they were ready for Roman Reigns, it was instead Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy
That would
Uso
have been
came out.
extremely funny. But see, I think even then, instead of KO and Randy, it could have just been Jimmy Uso and somebody else before Roman came out.
It's true they could have, but yes, they could have done so many other things than just KO and Randy. But these are the two dudes that they wanted. That one that was going to go fight Gunther, and the other one is going to go fight Cody. So I understand it from that point. But you did establish that this was all of like they weren't available. He doesn't have them. What is he going to do? And the answer is Arn Anderson is going to make some calls, and he's going to get
Arn
them.
Anderson
He's
is
going
gonna
to
call
say,
the doctors from the Mario Hospital in My Hero Academia. Is gonna fix him up real quick.
"My God, it's Lemillion. He's coming to help Cody, bro."
Oh my God,
He's
he flashed his ass at Jacob Fatu.
Fuck, it's distracted Jacob Fatu. He doesn't know what to do with himself.
All right, so
Uh,
let's move on from the funny part to the awful part. Um,
yeah.
Solo's not super great at this.
No! Main event Solo Sikoa, what
main
are you doing?
main event Solo Sikoa.
Man, there's a time where you say, I don't think you're ready for this, and I don't think anyone had that conversation with Solo as they went in there. I also realized when I was watching the match, I told my brother this has forever ruined it. Solo's face looks like the same face that Damien gave when he was a child and he was told that the custody of Dominic match was going to happen. Like, if you look at the graphic for the custody of Dominic match and then look at Solo Sikoa, they make the same face almost all the time. So it makes, like, once you realize that, every single time he looks up and he's like, oh, it's like, oh my God, you're going to cry? Little child? Are you going to cry
The
because.
picture of him screaming at Roman after the match ends is so funny. It
My
kills me,
favorite,
dude.
yes. That edit of someone where they replace the scream with the Big Show's theme song is maybe one of my favorite. It was really good. Like that Ed bit was really good. The way that they dressed down Solo in the next episode, where they're just like, "Hey, not only did you lose, you also got Jacob injured. Good job, idiot,
Yeah, you
tribal
big
chief,
dumbass.
moron,
Um,
big stupid idiot."
yeah, it's just like, and the sad part is, he wasn't very good, and he still did better than I thought he'd do.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
he did stuff, and I was like, that's more than I expect out of Solo Sikoa, but it still wasn't very good. And
No, I think he needs more time to actually
yes, he
get to
does.
this level.
And Tama Tonga and Tongaloa are like non-factors. You know, like they're just
Yeah.
nothing people to me. They're the
Yep.
guy that goes "Nyah, nyah, nyah, nyah," and then like the guy who can't do anything right. That's like their characters to me.
I like the current graphic. I think it was for Tongaloa where they said who's been pinned this year. It was like Cody, yes. Roman, yes. Gunther, yes. Him, no. The goat, the
Yeah,
greatest
have
of
you
all
seen the edit that's Tongaloa with every belt on his shoulders?
time. Yeah.
It's like the Universal, the World, both tag titles, the Intercontinental Champion. It's so
I'm like,
funny.
he might be because he's so bad. Like the way that he missed the ring post.
It's
It's like
so.
you have to be doing this
Did
on
you see him
purpose.
hold up the tag belt? Weird.
Yes.
It's so
It's like
funny.
either you are legitimately one of the worst wrestlers ever, or you're doing such an amazing bit that this is actually all hilarious and you're leading into it. Either way, I want to believe in a world where he's actually just this bad and
It,
he's
yeah,
he's
even
reached.
if it's a bit, because it is approaching such comedic levels that it feels like it has to be one. Even if it's a bit, I want it to be real. This is kayfabe needs to be a real thing for this only.
Yes, it does, and I feel like this is making him the most over member of the new bloodline that is not named Jacob Fatu.
It
It's
is.
making him like the
I
second
legitimately think
best.
people like him the most because he's like endearingly shitty at everything.
Yes, he's reaching up there, realizing
When
that
he
obviously the best member up here is Jacob, but
when he gives the low blow to Kevin Owens and he punches Tama Tonga in the face.
he really is. That's right. He missed the low
He
blow. How
missed
do
the
you
low
miss?
blow and he punched Tongaloa instead, or Tama Tonga instead.
So funny. You're right. He might be reaching that level of just like you might just be so bad at this that you're so endearing.
And then
And
in his reveal, when the ref counts 1, 2, and then rolls out of the ring on his own because he doesn't get out from under the ring fast enough to pull the ref out. It's so funny, dude.
That's so good.
Missing the
Yes,
turnbuckle
agreed.
also very good because he ramps Cody into the ropes and then readjusts and does it again.
Yep, he does it again. Oh my god, absolute masterclass. Some amazing shit going down whenever he's hit in the ring. And if he keeps doing stuff like this,
It's
he might
so
actually end up winning
funny.
a title.
Well, I
Yes,
feel like at
but
some point they're gonna have, if he ever wrestles, because he hasn't wrestled a single time yet, and he's very bad.
yep, yep.
Assuming those clips can be trusted, where he's doing like the worst slaps you've ever seen to somebody. Um, the original plan was to put the tag belts on him and Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu is far too good to be tag champions with Tama Tonga for very long.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the logical conclusion here is to just put him in on the tag belts with Tama Tonga. But he seems to, like, they don't even want to let him wrestle. Like, there's no way that eye patch is real, right? Like,
No, almost guaranteed.
and so
Not real.
they literally put a fucking pirate eye patch on this man to make up reasons for why he's not wrestled a single match, despite probably getting paid a good amount of money to come out there and stand around and do fucking nothing next,
Yep.
just because he's an islander.
Just because he seems to be related to one of the greatest wrestling families out there, it is very funny. It is very hilarious. Um,
And
and yeah,
honestly, he kind of detracts from the obvious nepotism that Solo Sokoa is receiving because he's so much worse even than Solo.
yes,
He's so
it,
like
it is.
irredeemably bad.
Yeah, you can at least look in solo and go like, I can see something here. I don't see shit with this guy.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know what
just awful. He's just
he
awful.
is. He is our equivalent of that Australian breakdancer at the Olympics,
Yeah,
where you're just like, what are you doing? Why are you like this? What is going on? That you just kind of have to laugh and kind of go with it.
no, it's so bad. And like I don't know what you do about it. The new bloodline, like we all know the new bloodline sucks. This is not a like shocking reveal for people.
No.
But I don't know where they go because now Jacob's hurt, and I assume it's not kayfabe anymore because he's like in a walking boot.
Yeah, he looked real bad at
It looked
that.
bad. The way his shin hit that table looked like that looked bad.
It
Um,
looked very bad. Yeah, for sure.
and like,
Um,
what do you do with them now? Because also, so Roman came back, right? And we had um the big like, oh my God, Roman Reigns returns. He destroyed Solo. I feel like the original plan was for him to hit Jacob also, but then Jacob hurt himself. So they like I saw people being like, "Oh, it's obviously kayfabe because they didn't want to bury Jacob by having him like
Jacob,
as
yeah.
if losing to Roman Reigns buries somebody."
Yeah,
Um,
it's very the logic here only works if you think that taking a couple hits and being knocked down is enough to be buried, which it is not. If that was the case,
Wrestling Twitter legitimately thinks that though. Like I remember Ilya Dragunov's first match, he lost to I think like Jay. Um, and everyone was like, "I can't believe WWE tanked this man's career." And it's like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
nah, man. These new heads have never seen a true burial like I've seen it. They haven't they haven't been around long enough to see a legit burial where you go and go, this is the death of a character. This is the end of it all. Nah, this is just them losing. It's
yeah, like,
fine.
and
People lose.
Jacob has been billed as such a beast up to this point that he's like destroying everybody. Like
Mhm.
anybody that looks at him funny gets obliterated. I think it's okay if the person who's pretty much being billed as like the number one guy in the whole company right now with Roman hits him twice. Like it'll be okay.
Yeah,
Um, I
I
want to
think it's
say
fine.
that was the original plan before Jacob got hurt because the timing that Roman comes out is super weird. Because, in one of these matches, you generally expect the music to hit when there's like an all is lost moment, when they're like they need him to
Mhm.
come out and save the day. Um, the music hits when both Solo and Cody are laid out on their backs.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit.
And so I feel like it was just Jacob was supposed to get up because it looks like he is trying to get back up. So either like kind of like we talked about, I think on Twitter or wherever we were talking, he's either the greatest seller ever, or he
Yeah.
legitimately hurt himself. Um,
Yes.
and so I think that like production was like, oh shit, he's not getting back up. Just go, 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 go. Like go, Roman, go now.
They had to call an audible and be
Yeah,
like,
and
you need to
have
go out
Roman come
now.
out at at a funky time. Um, and yeah, he came out,
Yeah,
crushed
to
Solo.
heroically beat up a man who's
Yeah, who's
face down.
barely able to stand.
It does paint it a little bit weird, correct? But thankfully, Roman Reigns has just literally so much aura that when he enters
Yeah,
the ring,
I
people
mean it's
just
Roman
don't
Reigns. Like
care.
what are you gonna do about it, right? Like
Yeah,
he's
he's him.
way too like the man. And it's funny
Yeah.
because I was not a huge Bloodline fan at first because I was like, wow, all of these matches are the same fucking match. Like I find this very boring that Roman wrestles and then gets his ass whooped for a bit and then the Bloodline is like, ah, we're here and you win now. Um, that kind of wore on me. And then I lost Roman Reigns and I had Solo Sikoa and I was like, holy shit, I'm a Roman Reigns fan.
Yeah. It's funny how that can happen a lot of the time where you don't realize how good you have it with a wrestler until they're basically gone. And Roman was definitely one of the ones who could tell a story in the ring like almost no one else. Like he can, the way he has the ability to make someone lose and still keep their momentum is kind of amazing. Like obviously everyone wanted Sammy to beat Roman and then Roman beat him, but that didn't mean like people still care about Sammy and he was able to get into Continental and beat Gunther, and that was way better than what he was previously, which was again losing to Johnny Knoxville. This SummerSlam was the first SummerSlam of Sami Zayn's entire career in WWE, and you can thank Roman for that because of how good of a job he put together in the ring with him in there. Same thing goes for Cody. Cody lost that first one, and it made people even more excited for the idea of Cody. To the point where when it looked like we weren't getting that and we were instead getting Rock v Roman, people got angry. And now obviously it's to the point now where I think people can accept a Rock versus Roman only because Rock came back and became the final boss and became the ultimate, just like I didn't get hurt by anyone except for the Undertaker who showed up for a brief bit. That was
Yeah.
it. But he's a fantastic wrestler, and it was easy to forget that when everyone was just waiting for him to lose. But then we
Yeah,
lost him
when
for a
everyone
bit.
wanted him to lose so bad.
Yeah. And then he comes back, and then you're like, oh man, I remember why I love this guy. And I think something similar happens with. I think something similar to that will happen when we finally Cena retires and he puts up the jorts and it's finally over, and you go like, I guess it legitimately is over. He's just never coming back. And I feel like that's, you don't realize that until after they gone, like you said, where you have Solo Sikoa now, and he's out there doing the same beats of Roman saying, "I'm the tribal chief, acknowledge me."
Acknowledge me, but like the thing is, no one ever really feels like they took him seriously, including like um the announce team, you know? Like
Yeah, they don't.
everyone was like, "Oh, he's the cosplay tribal chief." And it's like, "Dog, you are not making me feel like I should be worried about this guy."
No, not really. He doesn't have the same fear to him. He was actually, funny enough, more scary as like the solo silent guy who showed up and just hit people in the throat and left. Even though he lost every single match, he was at least seen as more of a threat
Yeah, he
there.
was like the enforcer or whatever.
Yeah, but now that he has to be the leader, it's just like, you didn't even win a match for like for this year until like a couple weeks back. I don't think you're that much of a threat to Cody or anything else. But at least the match itself, it was what it was. They understood that it had to be Bloodline because that was the only way to sell an idea of a Solo Sikoa match. I think making it a Bloodline rules match makes sense for how he's trying to imitate Roman and tried to see that he was better by saying like, I'm gonna have this match and I'm gonna do what Roman
I'm
couldn't
gonna
do, and then
win when Roman.
obviously,
Yeah,
yeah, and then he didn't account for the fact of like, oh shit, I didn't realize that Roman would be back. That the I was kind of under the idea that he would disappear forever. Silly me. Oh well.
yeah,
um, and we'll see where it goes from here. I can't imagine their match going anything except for with Solo losing, and I don't know how long they can keep that up without Jacob Fatu. Because at least if they had
yes,
Jacob, they could always say like he interfered in the match and he cost him the match, and that's the only reason Solo was able to win. And then obviously he then have to go for a Jacob versus Roman and do something like that. And eventually maybe the currently as it stands right now, the idea of like, oh, he needs to get back Sammy and Jimmy and Jay and get the original bloodline versus them. I'm like, does he? Does
Well,
Roman Reigns need help against the other if without Jacob Fatu? The new bloodline is like Roman going, all right, I'm gonna destroy all three of you on a 3-on-1 handicap match. I don't need
yeah,
the
well,
other ones
you
backing me
mentioned
up.
that, and that kind of already happened because they did the whole thing where they ended the most recent SmackDown with Solo Sikoa going, "Come on out here and fight me, Roman Reigns," and he walks out, beats the shit out of all three of them, and then is just like, "Okay,
Yeah.
that's it."
The way that they have to establish it is that Roman has to lose against Solo, and I don't think that they have it in them to have Roman lose to Solo Sikoa in the year 2024. But
Which
we'll see, huh?
good on them. Like, I agree with them, but it's just
Yes.
weird because I don't know where you go, even with Jacob Fatu. Like, I don't know where you go. Like because the bloodline up to this point, stupid as they are, right?
Mhm.
They established that once they get involved with like the multi-person beatdown, like you lose, right?
Yeah.
Nobody has really turned it around and just beaten all. Like even Cody hasn't turned things around and beaten all of them by himself. Roman just did that.
Yep.
So what do you do? Where do you take it?
Yeah. And I think it's more interesting. I think that Roman Reigns, now that he's by himself, he might have to go on some kind of a not a redemption tour, but he's definitely going to be someone who is going to be unliked by the roster, and he's going to be by himself now. And we'll see if that has any changing of it and if
Yeah, well, I
things
mean,
go
he's
different.
he's listed in the internal documentation as a face now.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to have some sort of like, I know I did wrong. Let's. I mean, the fans were cheering for it. I don't know if you were, or I don't know if you like remember the last SmackDown that well because it feels like SmackDown's very forgettable. Um,
Yeah, it usually is. But I
but
do I do remember that they were cheering for him.
well, they were cheering for Roman, obviously. But then when he got jumped by Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, they started chanting Cody's name. Um, and so it
Mm.
seems like the fans are really pushing for like the Spider-Man and Venom team up, where like Cody and Roman team up to put the bloodline down for good or whatever. I don't know that I see that happening. I feel like Cody needs to get away from the bloodline.
Yes. As much as Rikishi hates to hear this, I think it's time to put an axe in the bloodline and say, for now you can rest, and maybe someday later on when Jimmy comes back, when
Yeah,
Jimmy Uso is fit to return, he can come back and they can maybe try and do the original one. But I think it's run
and
its
I do
course.
think that they are at least a little bit pushing toward it because they're putting Sammy and Jay. They're making them a tag team.
Hmm.
I guess there's no confirmation that's going to happen, but Jay has said it like 4 times in the past 2 weeks, so I feel like it's going to happen.
Hey, he says, "Yeet, we're gonna go after United Yeet Tag Team Champions.
Yeah,
Yeet,
we're
let's
gonna
do
we're
it."
gonna yeet all over the Judgment Day and get our tag yeet championships.
And
Um,
then Sammy looks at him and says, "I miss my Intercontinental Championship.
yeah,
Oops,
I miss my belt, Jay. I
I
miss it a lot.
miss my belt, Jay. I miss it a lot."
I miss it a lot, Tails.
And they go to it would be so funny. They cut to Jay Uso super happy, and then they cut to Sami Zayn. He's like the Kermit staring out the window in the rain meme, looking at the Intercontinental belt.
I miss my championship, Jay.
He used to be someone, Jay, and he's just like super. He's just super happy. I actually want that the new arc: super depressed Sammy and like super hyped up Jay.
Jay's like, "Hey, yo, bro, you ready to go get the Judgment Day?" And Sammy's like, "Miss my title, Jay. I used to be someone around here." And then it just cuts back to Jay, and he looks at the camera and goes, "Yeet," and walks out, walks out of frame.
How you feel today, Yeet? I just sometimes wake up and wonder, what's even the
Sometimes
point
I
of
wake
trying
up and I
anymore?
reach to the other side of the bed, thinking the belt's still gonna be there.
Ah, shit. All right, let's go get you another belt. That's
Just
what
one
I need. Is
sad
I
yeet.
he,
Yeet. And then he walks out.
he goes like, "This is where I lost my belt, Jay." Cowabubber yeet. That's what I need to come from this. Said, "This is where
Yeet
I
a
lost
bummer.
my yeet a bummer." Oh man. But yeah, I want Cody to do something else, and we'll see if the KO thing could lead. I think that will lead to a good match, and they're building towards a story of maybe KO is feeling Kevin Owens is feeling like he's not that guy anymore, and he needs to awaken who that guy is.
Yeah, I've seen a little
Um,
of some theories that like he's gonna go back to the like prize fighter, like big time heelish energy of like I'm gonna do whatever it takes and fuck people up kind of mentality
yeah,
to prove he's worthy of the belt or whatever. Still don't think Cody's
I,
gonna lose. Um,
no, but I would definitely prefer him to fight like peak heel Kevin Owens, who was out here like defeating Cena immediately and power bombing his best friend on the mat apron. He picks up depressed Sammy and says, "This will make you feel better," and then gives him something else to worry about. Like I want that KO back. As much as I do enjoy being able to cheer Kevin, I think it's actually better when he's a heel and he's on like the warpath trying to get the title back. So we'll see. We'll see where this all goes, and we'll same thing goes for Roman. It's gonna be. It's basically a new season, so we'll
yeah,
see where the
a lot
season
of people
develops as
are
things go
changing
on.
around. The only, and
Yeah.
we talked about this a bit earlier when on the Bailey section, but it
Mm-hmm.
really just feels like Cody's title reign has been I will fight this person. I have won. They are away from me now. Like, we had
Yeah.
AJ Styles, and despite the matches being really good, no real like story kind of came out of that.
Yeah.
They just
No.
like fought twice, both good matches. I liked the matches. Um,
Yeah.
I think one of the funniest spots in maybe wrestling history is when Cody just throws the fucking chair at AJ's face when he's on the top rope.
That is really good.
Doesn't he fall through a table after that too?
I think he
I think
does.
he does. I think he falls off the top rope through a table. It's really funny.
Yeah,
Amazing
that's
spot. The Logan Paul match, I keep forgetting that it happened.
because we all want to forget that it
Yeah,
happened.
isn't it crazy that he's had the same number of matches for the Universal Championship as he had defenses of his own title?
Fucking unbelievable. But yes, very hard to imagine. But yes, he did do that.
It's fucking crazy. Um, and then God, who did he even fight after that?
It
Was it
was
just straight to solo?
I think I want to say it was straight to solo after that. And then they started going on the solo train, was main event solo Sikoa. So yeah, he needs and then I understand they can be a little bit difficult when it is a his face champions typically don't do the storyline. What happens is that this heel brings them the
Yeah, the storyline
storyline.
happens to them. Yeah.
Yes, it can be a little bit weird when the champion is basically a face, because at that point it's like, what is the ongoing story that he has? He has the belt. That's why a lot of face championships usually don't last very long, or they turn heel. Except for in John Cena's case, because the answer is that it's actually very hard to write a once you have the championship. What do you do from there? And the best way you can do it is to have a scrappy heel kind of come up from somewhere and kind of get it. That's usually what you did with the Money in the Bank. That's how when John Cena lost it to Edge. Well, now you have a legit storyline. He was champion. He was screwed out of it. He wants it back, and then you can help establish a new one who then it makes sense for him to cheat to win against John Cena because he's someone who hasn't established himself, and then Cena can go do something else as he tries to work his way back up, and then something like that. But the thing is that now that it's taken so long to get Cody the belt, I don't think they want to take that belt off of him.
Yeah, I feel
Not,
like making him wait a year after 39 and then almost not get the match at 40 either. Um,
yeah,
I feel like yeah, they don't want to take the belt off him, which I get, but it just feels like there's no. I guess you can't really have a long storyline with the heel being like, "I'm coming for the belt," and then they keep losing. Like you can't have AJ Styles fight him again and lose again. Um, but like
yeah,
shit, they've been dragging this Drew and Punk shit for like 6 months, and they only fought one time. Like
yeah.
I feel
There
like
should
you
be
got to be able to do something because all Cody really does is just go out there, and someone's like, hey, I'm an asshole and I want your belt. And he's like, all right, let's do it right now. And then they fight and he wins.
Yeah, it can be a little bit tougher with that. And I feel like the reason a lot of it is like this is because they're saving it up for. They want to give him a good portfolio of dudes to beat him, so that when he loses to The Rock, and Rock has the championship for when he fights Roman,
I do
it,
actually think he's going to lose it to The Rock, and that's very sad.
it is very sad. And I do think they're also going to eventually build up to Roman versus Cody. No bloodline shit involved in there, actually just straight up a wrestling match. And that will be maybe the one of the best storylines that they've got for him there. But the thing is that first they have to deal with this fucking bloodline, because as long as the bloodline exists, there's nothing stopping them from interfering in the match and
Yes.
making it worse for Cody or something like
And
that.
they kind of hinted at it on SmackDown, or no, on at SummerSlam, when
Mm-hmm.
Roman pointed at him and he was like, "That's mine," and then Cody did the three and tapped the belt for like, "We're gonna do a third." Um,
Yeah,
but
it would make sense.
I feel like if you put the belt back on Roman right now, people are gonna be like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I don't think it's the right call to do it. I think you could have him go for it again, and then he loses it, and maybe that's truly the humbling sign of like there was no tricks, there was nothing. I just wasn't good enough this time, and it's time for me to eventually get good enough again. Whether or not they decide to go that route, it's going to be depending on a lot of things. A lot of egos
Yeah.
probably have to check, and I do think Roman is a good enough guy that if you could convince him this is how the story has to go for his character, I think he could be convinced. But we'll see. It can be a little bit funky when it comes
And
to
yeah, with
wrestling.
the specter of the Rock always hovering.
Yeah, the final boss. One day we're gonna learn what he said to Cody.
That's right. I forgot. He said that what did he do? He like, gave him something, and we don't know what that was either.
Yeah, we don't know what it was. He asked him, "Can I hold your belt?" And then Cody says, "Can I hold your belt?" And then they did this like weird little like, "Oh yeah, feels good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, here's your belt back. I'm leaving forever and goodbye."
I'm
Dun,
leaving
dun,
until
dun.
next WrestleMania because that's the only event I think is worth my time anymore.
Exactly. And then Cody has to build up again a 16 people so he can fight the Rock Raid again. But it's only it only comes up yearly, so he has to wait for it again for the final boss. So yeah, good SummerSlam. Interesting stuff so far. I also did like a lot of the Bronson, some of the stuff not mentioned in SummerSlam that is in post. Them just acknowledging Seth Rollins got killed.
That
Uh,
the
Very
joke they
funny.
made about it on, well, I think it was Raw, is
Yeah.
maybe the funniest joke I've heard since I started watching again. When R-Truth sets the Miz up with Bronson Reed, and he's like, "I got you a match with Braun Breaker." And he's like, "That's not Braun Breaker, that's Bronson Reed." And he's like, "Ain't that the guy that killed Seth?" And then
Yeah.
Randy Orton comes up, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and Archer's like, "Yeah, Miz is gonna fight Bronson Reed tonight." And he's like, "Oh, isn't that the guy that killed Seth?" When Randy Orton said, I almost died.
Yeah, it's the way it goes. Like, isn't that the guy who killed someone? I like that idea of them being just like the acknowledgement. Like, nah, he did.
Yeah,
He
well,
ain't
because
around.
they had him like spitting up blood in the ring.
And then yeah, and then later on when they said he's actually going away for because there's a medical emergency, like legitimately he's really injured. It made me go like, so wait a minute. How much of that was played? How much of that was him
Yeah.
legitimately going, ah, fuck?
Oh God, we killed him.
Like legitimately, it's like, do you? He's like, all right, we're gonna take you out. We're gonna give you 6 tsunamis. Do you think you can take it? Yeah, I think I can take
Do
it.
you think
And
you
then
can
he
take
got to,
6 tsunamis for Bronson Reed?
and he got to like the 4, and he was like, and then the referee of the year is like, do it again. One
We
more
got
time.
2 more in him. Let's go.
It's just the fucking funniest. It reminds me of that bit from Little Nicky where they're just like, who wants to see the only way to truly be evil is to cover Henry Winkler in bees, and he had already been covered in bees previously, and he gives him a look of like, please no, and then Little Nicky goes, sorry, and he hits him with the bees again. That's
Oh, it's
basically what
so
he did with the
good.
tsunamis. And the way that they cheered him, I really do think this is a good way for Seth to return, because he can return and actually legitimately be like, nah, the fun shit is over. You guys cheered. I was bleeding.
Yeah, you
I
cheered when I got murdered.
I got murdered and you fucking cheered. especially with how much he's been doing it to get like the attention of the crowd. The fact that it all went away and all it took was 6 tsunamis. That's enough to make me go heel. At least with R-Truth and Miz, you can understand of like, okay, um, they probably won't get that angry because they're just actually. I would be legitimately. I would be angry if I was a face and the crowd started cheering when I was
Started
getting the
cheering,
shit
yeah.
kicked. Nah, man, we ain't cool no more. You guys fucking suck. And I think that's a good way of going for it. But we'll see if we'll go for it. But yeah, that's about it. I think Otis is free, and I think we're finally done here after 2 hours.
Yeah. Hang on, wait, we gotta end the show with another. This is a good one. I'm gonna send
All
it to you
right.
on Twitter.
Oh god, truly is the goat combined
The
16 world
absolute
title.
goat, Tongaloa.
My brother was also asking me about a meme. He was like, "Why are people putting Gooner in front of Gunther?" I'm like, I don't know
I
why. I
don't
don't know
know
what you're
that one.
talking about. I don't know either. I was like, listen, man. Sometimes these memes come out of nowhere, and you
Yeah,
can't
sometimes you just gotta
control
let them
them.
happen.
Exactly. That's good though. Combined
Yeah.
13 world titles, by 16. I'm all
16.
here for it. I also like the idea of the rumors of them going back to WWF, but who knows if that actually happens? Because if you don't know, the only reason that they're not WWF, it has nothing to do with like they had to say specifically the worldwide wildlife federation or whatever said to them, if you want to be WWF, you simply have to pay us. And then Vince said no, and he changed the branding. That's why they've never been using WWF. It had nothing to do with the fact that they got sued. It's that WWF said that's okay, you can keep using it. You just have to pay us. And he said no.
I'm so
Like a
glad Vince is
stubborn
gone,
ass old
bro. I'm
man.
so glad Vince is gone.
He is. He changed everything. He censored all the old ones. It's so dumb. It's Shadowband or something. Yes,
Click
the
just the beginning of that and look at the face that Logan makes. Just the first like 2 seconds.
oh my god, yeah. If you have not seen this Dominic Logan Paul thing, will
I
absolutely
might
make
put
you
this in the
100%.
description for people that I'm sure anyone that watches this niche ass wrestling podcast with like 12 viewers
Yes,
um, has already seen it. But I'm gonna put it in the description anyway for anyone who hasn't seen it. Watching Dominic Mysterio shit on Logan Paul is one of the funniest things I've seen in a while.
especially because he has that face of somebody who's like, I know you're mad, but I don't care.
Yeah, well, also look at his
He
fucking haircut. Like Dominic Mysterio is such an easily hateable individual.
he is.
He's got the
You know
mullet.
what's the
He's
funniest?
got the Jeff Foxworthy mustache. Like,
It seems like every time I look at him, he's 2 seconds away from going, "No mames, way, no, no,
and somehow he
chingo."
pulled both Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, which is like the most unbelievable part of all of it.
Yes, exactly. If anything, that is the most unbelievable part of all of it. But the fact that they sell so into it, they're just like, no, we are legitimately fighting for Dominic
For
Mysterio, and he
for
is
Dominic Mysterio, even Rey Mysterio won't fight for Dominic Mysterio.
exactly. And not only are we fighting for him, he has done his due diligence to make himself as shitty as possible to make it
It
so that no
I
woman would
don't
ever
think
love
I've
him.
ever seen a heel in any of my time watching, from WWF up to WWE, where the minute he says anything, the entire building boos so loud you can't hear him over them.
It is pretty astonishing.
It's constant.
It is legitimately we hate you. And it's all built off of I don't know. Once he found that spark in him, he's run with it, and I'm glad that he found it because it's much better than him being Rey Mysterio's son, who was just kind of in the background and gets beat up and is not as good. And now he's just like his own. Now he's still gets beat up, but now he's really shitty looking. Like his fucking haircut is just so unbelievably bad.
His haircut is bad, his mustache is bad. He has the like total douche face. He looks like those old troll face memes from like the year 2000, like the "you mad bro" memes.
He does, yeah.
And his whole character is that he's like a shitty teenager. Is he's like,
Yeah,
Rhea,
man
I
child.
picked Liv because I'm a real man and I want my chicken tendies in dinosaur shapes at 9 p.m. And it's like, this is some of the best heel work I've seen in a long time because he's just so hateable.
He is. He makes you hate so many people, and he's so good at it too. Like once he realized this is how he can get more people to yell at me, he's doing such a good job at that.
It's so
And
good, dude. I fucking,
it,
oh my
and
god.
based off of this interview, I think he's just actually legitimately good at getting under people's skin.
Yeah,
Because
I
I've
think that's what it is. I think he legitimately looks at the situation of being like, how can I be irritating without being like, because a lot of heels, like, there's the drama in AEW right now of the one guy who's like being racist because that's like his way of
yeah,
getting heat or whatever.
yeah,
um
MJF
yeah,
really likes to play low ball, like
yeah.
old 80s type wrestling type shit.
Whereas like Dominic does it purely through being like passive aggressively insufferable. He doesn't ever say anything that's like, holy shit, like you said that on TV. He's just like someone that you would not suffer conversation with in real life. That's his whole
He
character.
he he's the guy in that meme where he says like, "So I was walking, bro was walking."
Yeah,
He's like that. He's that as a
my
person.
bro is walk pilled. He's stroll
Yeah.
maxing right now.
It reminds me of the old bit Gabriel Iglesias used to say about the cholos who would always talk shit on him whenever he would do anything. Where he was like, how he's like, I get in the car and I would go in my car. My car's real small, so I would go to pick up my friend. I'd go, come on, Martin, and then they would go for it, and then every single time they'd go, hey. It's like, no, I'm not gonna give him. I'm not gonna give him the time. They, hey. It's like, oh god, what do you want? And he's like, hey, little fat man in the cutty beep beep. It's like, oh my god, you're so fucking irritating.
That's exactly, he's just fucking irritating and it's so good.
Yeah, it also reminds me a little bit of the a good quality of this is that my uncle Raul used to be really good at this, where he would be talking shit on someone, but then one time he was doing it where he was doing it to absolutely everyone, and we were laughing, and then he fell out his chair, and no one went to help him, and they all started laughing at him. And that is what reminds me of Dominic Mysterio. He has like that specifically inbuilt ability to be so fucking annoying that it comes off
Yeah,
really funny
like,
when you're not
the
dealing with it.
classic wrestling booking dictates that you want your heel to be someone that makes the crowd want the face to win. Dominic is the
Hmm.
type of heel where you just want him to lose. I don't care who wins. I just want him to get his ass kicked.
Exactly,
That's all
one
I'm here
hundred
for.
percent. Yep, he knows how to legitimately get into people's skin without actually being a horrible person, which is what Logan Paul is.
Yeah,
He's a
Logan Paul
horrible
is just a
person that gets
shitty
under.
individual that no one wants to deal with. And
Yeah,
like, is he a good heel? Yes, but he's a good heel because that's just like the kind of fucking person that he is. Like,
yep.
some of his lines were pretty good. Like the, oh, you're a, what do you say, you're a catchphrase with a tan or whatever. Like, that's pretty good. But
Yeah.
then like, it's nothing compared to Dominic's casual ability to just like be in a room and be insufferable.
Yes. Like I said, when he says, "Oh man, you'll be the ultimate heel when you bring out the hat," that was the part where I was just like, "Oh." And then I went back to look at that video, and that fucking he had
He's
on.
got the hat on.
Oh, that's so good. All right. Yeah, leave that in the description. This ends up being one of my favorite things
Oh, it's
ever.
so good.
Again, when you see this, especially if you hate Logan, this makes you
Yeah,
respect
if
Dominic
you
so
if you
much
feel
more.
bad for hating Logan Paul, don't watch it because you can't help but laugh at this. It's so good.
Yes, it is. It's amazing stuff.
All right, but we should probably call it because it's been 2 hours
Yeah.
and we can just apparently talk about wrestling forever. So
I did, like I said, don't get me started. I'll just start going off. You're lucky that we don't talk about anything else here. I could have gone 30 minutes of just talking about, oh my God, Art Anderson, he called the Japanese
the
military.
one of the
He's here to
funniest
help.
memes I've seen about it was when Arn Anderson was on the screen. Is remember the clip where Stone Cold has the gun and he's going after the NWO with it, and
Yes.
and Kevin Nash goes, he's got a gun. Someone just posted that clip and it's like
Yes.
Arn Anderson Bloodline rules match.
Oh yeah, have you ever seen the Armed Anderson? The reason why everyone says that about him,
No.
because he said this is what he said to AEW in AEW to Cody. He's like, the problem is with you, Cody, is someone comes to rob you, and you say, please don't hurt me, and you give them what they want. Me, I pull out the Glock, put it on the forehead, and bang. I can't do that no more. I'm just too damn old. And that's why my brother, when he came back, he posted the clip of someone did the edit of that where they replaced Glock and they made it sound like cock. Pull out the cock, put it on his forehead. But I can't no more because I'm just too damn old. It's
Oh
one
my
of my
god, that's so
favorite
good.
promos. It is Armed Anderson. That's why they started calling him that. He goes, "Bah!" It was really funny. Anyway, we
Arm
should
Anderson.
stop.
Yeah,
We'll
okay,
just go
yeah,
on
let's
forever.
let's thank you everybody for tuning in to Wrestling and Chill. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Yes, hopefully next week.